Let's return to Mariupol, the events there, because those reports that a maternity and children's hospital has been hit by Russian strikes. The city council says the destruction is colossal. President Zelensky has described the attack as an atrocity. Here's Sarah Campbell.
Under constant attack, nowhere in the city of Mariupol is safe. This is what's left of a maternity and children's hospital. There's little information on casualty numbers, but there has been widespread shock and outrage that such a building could have been hit.
The maternity hospital today, like several hours ago, was ruined with the women and the newborn in. Several hours ago was hit. Now it's the only information that I know, because there is almost no cell phone network there. But the information is that maternity hospital was hit. Yes, it was full.
The president has tweeted that there are people, children, under the wreckage, which he's described as an atrocity. This southern city has come under heavy shelling now for days. Tens of thousands of people are stuck and unable to escape, with food, water and supplies running out. Humanitarian aid can't get in either.
The city is in total darkness. It's like a black, scary, forest. Then there is no heating because, of course, it powers from electricity. No heating and no water because all the infrastructure was damaged.
In the relative safety of central Kiev, this is what awaits. Nights in metro stations with confusion over where to go next. Elsewhere, the fighting continues, but routes have been announced to try and help civilians to escape. 6 humanitarian corridors have been agreed between Ukraine and Russia. And yesterday, more than 5,000 people made it out of Sumy. The hope is that more will be able to follow. Sarah Campbell, BBC News.
Well, the latest word on that hospital attack, we're hearing that 17 staff and women, some of whom were in labour, were injured in that attack. More details coming in all of the time. Let's talk now to Crystal Wells, who's the ICRC's spokesperson in Geneva. Welcome here to the programme. I know you don't have exact details on this hospital attack, so let me ask you a question first about the general situation in Mariupol, which is desperate, because I know you have staff there on the ground. One ICRC spokesperson was quoted as saying the situation was apocalyptic. Tell me what your staff are saying to you.
You're right. The situation there is apocalyptic, and that was the word that was actually given to us from our team in Ukraine to describe the situation there. This is a city where people are going without the very basics of survival. No food, no water, no heat. The temperatures are freezing, no electricity. And they desperately need humanitarian assistance, and they also need safe passage out of this city if they want to leave. It's just incredibly dire.
I'll ask you about safe passage in a moment, but just in terms of the shelling, tell me, how intense does the shelling continue to be?
I can tell you one anecdote from our team today. I hear from them that when the fighting happens in the morning, they wake up from it. And that, for example, some of our things like cars and the rest were destroyed in some of this. And I think you're seeing devastating reports potentially from this hospital in this city. I can't, like I said, independently verify any of that. I don't have any fresh information on that. But people are really living through an absolutely atrocious and horrible situation where they're living through extreme levels of violence, and they're being deprived of the very basics that they need to be able to get by. Like I said, food, water, and medical care.
The Red Cross said yesterday that efforts to evacuate people in these humanitarian corridors, they failed yesterday. Have there been further attempts today?
So to give you an example of what happened on Sunday, our team was ready to help open up the route to help some civilians leave, and fighting resumed. And it was very clear to us on Sunday that there was no safe passage out of the city for our teams or for the civilians with us. We continue to speak with the parties to try and come to an agreement about how these so-called humanitarian corridors of the safe passage for civilians could work. But what we really need for us to be able to be involved is we need concrete details. We need an agreement between the two parties on specifics like location, time, place. Can aid, for example, go in, or can people only leave? Otherwise, these are really just in principle. So we really need concrete agreements for this to happen, and it's urgent.